Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cyber. I get asked a lot of times about individuals' careers. One of the most common questions I get asked is, what am I missing that is really not allowing my career to take off? My answer usually catches them off guard. My best answer to this is usually it's not your technical skills that are lacking, but the lack of participation in the industry itself. Don't get me wrong, skills are necessary. They're going to be your bread and butter. But really, at the end of the day, you don't need more skills. You need an availability to show who you are to the industry. At the end of the day, skills are how you learn. Participation is how the industry learns about you. Kind of jumping on this, a lot of individuals really kind of struggle to see where I'm coming from with this. And they start to ask me, why does my participation in the industry mean that much? In reality, it really comes down to the idea that this is where you are proving who you are and what you're capable directly to the industry itself. The truth is, there is a difference between theory and practice, and participation in the industry, whether it be through various conferences, contributions, meetups, or even just simple posting on social media. These are the areas where you are able to actually show you know the difference between that practice and the theory so many don't ever get beyond. Remember that representation of who you are and your capabilities, that's what matters most, and that's really what we want to showcase with your participation in the industry. Let's talk a little bit about networking. Networking is something that admittedly not everyone wants to do it or they don't feel that they are capable of doing it. But I'll be honest with you, it's one of the most important things you can do for your career. And this is one of the reasons why participation is so important to really guide your career to where you want it to be. Within the networking realm, this is really where you are able to find individuality as well as belonging within your community. And this is really important because as you continue to build your skills, build your network, you will find that there is a very serious truth here that your network becomes your net worth. This is where people start saying your name in rooms that you're not in, but they're saying it in a way of saying, I understand what you're asking for. I have an individual who's capable, ready, willing, and would be perfect for these things. This is really where your true worth is going to begin standing out. And this is why networking is so incredibly important. A lot of individuals really struggle to kind of get this off the ground though. So they ask me, Devin, what are the next best steps that I can take in order to actually start to build my network, start to participate more, because this is the direction I want to go in. And I guide them to what I call the participation ladder. Within this ladder, I have 4 separate steps that I'll like to outline here. Beginning with step 1 is the step where I tell people to start to experiment. This is really where you're going to start engaging maybe via social media. You're not quite in a physical presence yet. You're starting to look at things and you're starting to engage with others, maybe in a safer environment for you, one that might be a little bit more disconnected, but is still getting your brain juices flowing, as well as you are starting to get comfortable with the idea of engaging with the community. Step 2 takes us one step further from that experimentation phase that we talked about in step 1. And step 2 is where you begin to contribute. Maybe you're looking at bugs that you found within software. Maybe you're finding other areas where you're able to contribute, maybe your own ideas and concepts. You might still be in the digital world, and that's okay. But really, this is the step where you begin actually showing who you are, your abilities, your thoughts, your skills, and your individuality. Step 3 is where we're actually going to start seeing you engaging with the community a bit more. This might be where you start to attend conferences. This might be where you start study groups. This might be where you're able to work with different areas, different organizations, communities in your local community, and you're able to start maybe giving a little bit more, but also receiving a lot more. You're starting to gain those connections and that physical participation where people are recognizing you. They know what to come to you about, but also they know what you need help with as well. Step 4 really reaches that kind of pinnacle of what I like to look at in this participation ladder. You're still engaging in the community, you're doing a lot more, you're very involved, but you start really seeing that the emphasis is on the contribution side of things. You are starting to actually maybe mentor others. You're starting to contribute heavily. You're maybe presenting at conferences. You're working with organizations around the world. Maybe these organizations are actually coming and finding you and asking you to contribute. This is really where you start to begin molding that next generation or those individuals that might be back at step 1 that we discussed earlier. Remember this though, this is a ladder system. No need to jump to step 3 or 4 right away. Begin on step 1. That's really going to be able to build your confidence, make sure that you are aware of where you're going and where you want to go, and take it one step at a time to make sure that you're going in that direction that will really yield those career benefits that you're looking for. I do want to take a special moment here and talk to some of those introverts that might be looking at this video right now, as many of them might be saying to themselves, this sounds absolutely terrifying. And I have a few tips and tricks to hopefully help you adapt to this participation that I'm asking you to start being involved in. My first tip for you introverts is make sure that you are finding role-based opportunities when they are present. These are those opportunities that are very specific to a role. Maybe they align with your expertise and your comfort area, and that's a fantastic area to start. These are those areas where you are not asked to be outside of a specific scope. You're able to extend your own knowledge, but also you're able to really work within a realm that you understand and you don't have to deviate outside of. And that right there is a huge benefit for you if you're nervous about maybe beginning your participation journey. The next tip I'll give is utilize some time boxing techniques. Make sure that you are putting finite limits on the time that you are willing to extend in these participation avenues. That right there is going to allow you to make sure you are participating, but you're not overdoing it for what you're comfortable with. My next tip would be to find some goals and try and meet those goals. Maybe your goal is only to speak to one individual at this specific event, and that's great because one fantastic conversation is far more substantial than 5 shallow ones. So find some goals, find some areas that you want to actually engage in your participation journey, and those goals are going to help you along the way. Lastly, I want to mention that you should plan some recovery time. If you are an introvert, this can be a very draining process. You're going to want to find some time that you can actually recover, ingest what's gone on, really reflect, but also make sure that you're not overdoing it because, once again, this is a process, this is a journey, and you want to make sure you're doing it in the best way for you. A lot of times I hear individuals when I talk about this topic that will start giving me excuses right away of why they may not be able to do participation journeys like this. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of these are very common and a lot of them are very understandable. But let's maybe look at a way that we can counter some of those arguments that come up. The first argument that I hear a lot of is I'm not an expert in this field. I don't feel that I can go and participate because I don't feel that I have enough knowledge. And when I hear these arguments come up, usually I like to really realign individuals' thinking and tell them, you don't become an expert by not participating. It is the participation itself that makes you an expert over time. So don't feel that you need to be an expert in order to participate. You want to make sure that you are engaging early, that you are engaging substantially, and that you're finding avenues to really flex your curiosity. The next one I hear a lot of is, I don't have enough time. And honestly, this is a very understandable excuse. I, like many others, really could use a lot more hours in the day. However, in reality, if we start small, that's all I'm asking. Maybe you start finding a post to maybe comment on, something to contribute, have a discussion with someone in your everyday career. These are fantastic avenues to start small. And before you know it, you're going to find a lot of return on that investment. And that time is going to start making itself for you to participate even more. The last one, and sadly, one of the most common arguments that I hear is individuals will tell me, I don't like networking. You know, I understand that. There's a lot of negative aspects and maybe even perspectives on the idea of networking. With that being said, those individuals, I tell them, if you don't want to network, don't. Find a way to contribute instead. Because if you find great and amazing ways to contribute, the networking, it's a byproduct of fantastic contributions in your participation journey. As a final note for this video today, I really want to have a call to action to you watching this. If this is something that you understand is maybe not your strong suit, and you feel that your career could really be boosted from an injection of participation, I'm going to tell you right now, find ways to participate not next week, not next month, not next year, but today. Maybe find a post that you can comment on. Find a volunteer opportunity where you are able to actually go out and engage and teach others. Find a mentorship. Find an area where you can post your thoughts, your ideas, your contributions. Find ways that you can engage. Find a gamified format. I could keep going on and on. The real important thing here is you find a way that works for you to engage and participate. Because I'll be honest with you, those who participate, their careers are the ones that take off. Those are the individuals that really are able to go to the next level, not because they have the most technical skills, but because they know who to work with and who to engage with. As a final note, guys, I just want you to all to understand that the cybersecurity and hacker community that many of you are involved in, and maybe those of you that are wanting to see more of, it really rewards those individuals who are consistent, but those who engage heavily. I understand that that is a very hard challenge for many individuals, but this is something that I really challenge you to do because I promise this is something that's going to make a world of difference for you as a practitioner. And I truly believe it's going to take your skill set and your abilities to the next level. And really, when you think about that, what do you have to lose? All right, everybody, that is going to do it for today's episode. I really appreciate you watching. Please give me a like or a subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Feel free to comment. I will always do everything I can to help you out. Really appreciate all of you in this community. You know what? That'll do it. Have a fantastic one, guys. See you next time.